This year's coverage of SHOT Show 2018 is sponsored by Olight.
Alright guys, SHOT Show 2018, I'm here with Dave Canterbury over at Industrial Revolution where Mora is being featured, and he's going to be talking about the new Garberg that's in carbon steel. And I've seen the SHOT Show version that's here on the table, and he actually has his version, which you beat the living snot out of.
Yeah, I've beat that thing for 7 months.
So you're going to see not just a pretty knife, but one that's been aggressively used, and he's going to talk about why carbon steel and why it matters. Let me hop to the other side of the camera and he'll go through the specs.
All right guys, so here we are at the 2018 SHOT Show, and we're here to talk about the new carbon steel Mora Garberg. A lot of people don't realize that the carbon steel version of the Garberg has been in development actually longer than the stainless steel. The problem was the change in processes at Mora to create a full tang carbon steel blade. It just took longer to get that process developed than something they already made like stainless steel on an everyday basis. And yes, they've made carbon steel for a long time, but not in full tang. And there are certain idiosyncrasies to the process at Mora that had to be developed to make that happen. Now, when we talk about a full tang knife, obviously that's part of my criteria for a good survival type knife is number one, that it's carbon steel. Number two, that it has a 90-degree spine, and the first Mora Garberg in stainless steel had that 90-degree spine, as well as some of their newer knives like the Bushcraft Black, the Eldris, and the Kansball. The other thing was I wanted carbon steel. Took time to develop that, but now we've got it. I wanted it to be at least 4 inches long, and this is the actual version that I've been using, and you can see it's got my name on it right here. I've been using this knife for over 7 months. I've absolutely beat the snot out of it. The reason I prefer the carbon steel is it's easier to sharpen in the wild. It can be used for not only striking a ferrocerium rod, but also as a flint and steel device for striking with flint or quartz or chert or hard rock in an emergency. The profile of this knife is the perfect length to be able to do things like making the bow drill set for that last emergency fire, to do fine carving work, to be able to choke up on and still get plenty of leverage on the knife, where larger knives don't give you that opportunity. You know, something that's about the size of your palm or a little bit longer is about the perfect size for a survival knife to give you the leverage that you need if you're trying to push through knots and things like that. It's coated with a special coating that doesn't affect any of the other processes. You don't have to grind any of that coating off to be able to use it for a ferrocerium rod or to be able to use it for flint and steel. But it prevents corrosion better than just a knife would be if it was bare. It's made out of a C100 steel that's sourced out of Germany to be used in Sweden, and that is a very similar steel to 1095. It's 0.90% carbon. So it's a high carbon steel, again, made in Germany, sourced to Sweden for this blade. It's got a special handle material like the original Garberg did in stainless steel that is made from a Crichton material that's virtually indestructible. You can see this knife's been used for 7 months, and the handle still looks like it's brand new. And I've batoned this knife. I've used this knife for flint and steel. I've beat it up. I've used it quite a bit, and still the handle looks fairly new on this knife. So this knife was designed to be a bulletproof type knife. The tang goes all the way through the back side, and it's sharp on both sides. So it can be used to strike a ferrocerium rod, but the real purpose for that extension on the tang is so that you can baton it from the back. Because if you had to use this knife to pry into something, like to pry bark off for birch or some type of bark container, or if you had to break into a piece of wood to get to the rotten middle to get good high tinder sources like punk wood, or if you had to break into something looking for a food source or a bait source that was a termite or some kind of a grub-ridden piece of wood, you could get in there and pry that stuff around and not have to worry about breaking this knife. So this knife really was developed as a survival type tool, not necessarily a bushcraft tool, although it works really, really well for bushcraft as well. It comes with 2 different sheath options, just like the original Mora Garberg did. It comes with a leather option. And it also comes with a multi-mount system that comes with a plastic sheath and a multi-mount that you can mount to your web gear, or like a fire extinguisher mount that you can mount to your ATV, your canoe, your Jeep, or whatever you choose to drive. So all in all, you've got a system with this knife that gives it the ultimate ability to be multifunctional and to be usable for the end user as a survival or bushcraft knife at a very reasonable price at $89.99, $99.99 MSRP respectively.